You know what breaks my heart? Watching folks who've worked their entire lives miss out on money that's rightfully theirs simply because they didn't know about a critical deadline. And I'm talking about real money here. Money that could mean the difference between choosing groceries or medication next month. The Social Security Administration just announced changes that directly impact your SSA retirement benefits, your SSI payments, and yes, even SSDI recipients. And here's the kicker. There's a February 19th deadline that almost nobody is talking about. I've spent the last 3 days diving deep into these changes, talking to Social Security experts, and I need you to understand something. This isn't one of those maybe you should look into this situations. This is a stop what you're doing and pay attention moment. See, most people think Social Security is on autopilot. You hit retirement age, you file, and the checks just show up like clockwork. But what they're not telling you on the evening news is that there are specific actions you need to take before this deadline to protect your payments. And if you miss it, well, let me explain exactly what's at stake here. Now, I want you to grab a pen and paper because what I'm about to share with you isn't something you can just casually listen to while folding laundry. This is information that could literally change your financial situation for the rest of your life. And I mean that with every fiber of my being. You see, the Social Security Administration has implemented what they're calling a verification and update protocol, and it's affecting millions of Americans right now as we speak. But here's what makes me so frustrated about this whole situation. They're not exactly shouting it from the rooftops. They sent out notices, sure, but those notices are written in government language that would put a college professor to sleep, and because of that, I'm seeing people miss this deadline left and right. And then they're calling in absolutely panicked because their payments got delayed or reduced, and by then, it's too late to fix it easily. Let me break down what's actually happening here because the devil is absolutely in the details. The Social Security Administration is requiring all beneficiaries to verify their current information before February 19th. And when I say verify, I'm not just talking about confirming your address. We're talking about your direct deposit information, your marital status, your living arrangements, and for some of you, your income reporting if you're still working part-time. Now, why does this matter so much? Because if the SSA has outdated information in their system, they will adjust your payments accordingly. And let me tell you, getting those adjustments corrected after the fact is like trying to turn the Titanic around with a canoe paddle. It's possible, but it's going to take forever and cause you a massive headache in the process. I was talking to a woman last week. Her name is Margaret, and she's 73 years old. Margaret has been receiving her Social Security retirement benefits for 8 years without a single problem. Checks came in like clockwork. Everything was smooth sailing. But she ignored the notice she got in the mail because she thought everything was fine. Well, come March, her payment was 30% less than what she normally receives. 30%. Do you know what that does to someone on a fixed income? She called Social Security, sat on hold for 2.5 hours, only to be told that because her bank had changed her account number last year and she never updated it with Social Security, they flagged her account for review. Now she's got to go through this whole appeals process that could take months to resolve. And in the meantime, she's trying to live on 70% of her normal income. This is exactly the kind of nightmare scenario we're trying to prevent here. And here's something that really gets under my skin. The SSA isn't just looking at your direct deposit information. They're cross-referencing data with other government agencies, your state DMV, the IRS, even Medicare. They're using sophisticated algorithms to detect discrepancies in the information you provided versus what these other agencies have on file. So if you moved 2 years ago and updated your address with the post office but never told Social Security, that's going to trigger a flag. If you got remarried and didn't report it because you didn't think it would affect your benefits, that's another flag. Every single one of these flags can result in your payments being held up or reduced until you prove that your information is correct. And proving it means gathering documents, making phone calls, possibly even visiting a Social Security office in person, which, as we all know these days, requires making an appointment weeks in advance. Now, let me talk specifically about SSI recipients for a moment, because this affects you differently, and it's actually more critical for your situation. Supplemental security income is needs-based, which means the Social Security Administration is constantly evaluating whether you still qualify based on your income and resources. The February 19th deadline is particularly important for SSI recipients because you're required to report any changes in your living situation, your income, or your resources. And here's where people get tripped up. Resources include things you might not even think about. If your daughter added you to her checking account so she could help you pay bills, that counts as a resource. If you inherited any money from a relative who passed away, even if it's sitting in an account you haven't touched, that counts. If you sold your car, that counts. The SSA wants to know about all of this. And if they find out about it through their data matching systems before you report it, they're going to assume you were trying to hide it. And that's when you get hit with overpayment notices and potential penalties. I had a gentleman call in, Robert, who's been on SSI for 12 years due to a disability. His sister passed away and left him $15,000. Robert didn't spend a dime of it because he was scared it would affect his SSI. So he just let it sit in a savings account. He didn't report it because he wasn't sure what to do. Well, the IRS reported that inheritance to Social Security through their data sharing agreement, and Robert got a letter saying his SSI was being terminated, and he owed back nearly $40,000 in overpayments. $40,000. This man was absolutely devastated. Now, we were able to help him get that straightened out, but it took 8 months of appeals and paperwork, and the stress nearly put him in the hospital. All of this could have been avoided if he had simply reported that inheritance within 10 days like he was supposed to and worked with Social Security to handle it properly. For those of you receiving SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, you need to understand that this February 19th deadline applies to you as well, but the focus is slightly different. The SSA wants to verify that you're still disabled according to their guidelines and that you're not engaging in what they call substantial gainful activity. Now, here's what concerns me about this. If you've started doing any kind of work, even volunteer work that involves any compensation whatsoever, the SSA wants to know about it. If you've had any medical improvements, they want to know about it. If you failed to attend a scheduled consultative examination in the past year, they're going to use this verification period to follow up on that. And for SSDI recipients, the stakes are incredibly high because if Social Security determines you're no longer disabled, you don't just lose your monthly check, you also lose your Medicare coverage after a certain period. That's health care we're talking about, not just income. Here's what you need to do before February 19th. And I want you to follow this exactly. First, you need to create or log into your My Social Security account online. Go to ssa.gov and set up your account if you haven't already. I know some of you are thinking, I'm not good with computers, and I get it. I really do. But this is not optional anymore. The Social Security Administration has moved almost everything online, and if you don't have an online account, you're going to be at a severe disadvantage. If you absolutely cannot do this yourself, get your kids to help you. Get a grandkid to help you. Call your local senior center and ask if they have someone who can assist you. This is that important. Once you're logged into your My Social Security account, you need to review every single piece of information they have on file. Check your address, check your phone number, check your direct deposit information, check your marital status, check everything. If anything is incorrect or outdated, you need to update it immediately. Don't wait. Don't procrastinate. Do it right then and there. The system will walk you through how to make these updates, and most of them can be done entirely online without ever having to talk to a human being. Now, if you find that you need to upload documentation to prove something like a new marriage certificate or a divorce decree or proof of address, do that immediately. Don't tell yourself you'll get to it tomorrow because tomorrow becomes next week and next week becomes too late. Second, if you're receiving SSI, you need to report any changes in your income, resources, or living arrangements that have occurred in the last 12 months. And I mean anything. Did you start receiving a small pension? Report it. Did someone move into your house and start helping with rent? Report it. Did you close a bank account and open a new one? Report it. The SSA would rather have too much information than not enough, and reporting these changes proactively shows good faith on your part. If you're not sure whether something needs to be reported, report it anyway and let them tell you it wasn't necessary. That's always better than the alternative. Third, For those of you who are still working while receiving benefits, whether that's early retirement benefits or SSDI, you need to verify your earnings information. The SSA receives earnings data from the IRS, but there's often a lag, and if their records don't match what you're actually earning, it's going to cause problems. You can see what earnings they have on file through your My Social Security account, and if you notice any discrepancies, you need to contact them immediately to get it corrected. This is especially critical if you're under your full retirement age and still receiving retirement benefits, because there are earnings limits that can reduce your benefits if you exceed them. Fourth, and this is something a lot of people don't realize, you need to verify your family member information. If you have dependents receiving benefits based on your record, if you have a child receiving benefits, if you have a spouse receiving spousal benefits, all of that needs to be verified and up to date. If your child turned 18 and graduated high school but is now in college, that changes their eligibility. If your spouse started working and is now earning above certain thresholds, that affects their benefits. All of this needs to be reported and verified. Now, let me address something I know some of you are thinking. You're wondering, what if I just ignore this whole thing? What if I don't do anything and hope it all works out? Let me tell you exactly what happens. First, if you miss the February 19th deadline and the SSA has flagged your account for verification, your payments will be suspended starting with your March payment. Not reduced, suspended. That means $0 coming in. They will hold those payments until you complete the verification process. And depending on how backed up their system is, that could take weeks or even months. During that time, you're on your own financially. Your bills don't stop coming just because Social Security stopped paying you. Second, if the SSA discovers through their data matching that you failed to report changes you were required to report, you're looking at potential overpayment determinations. They will calculate how much they overpaid you based on the unreported information, and they will demand that money back. And unlike credit card companies or other creditors, the Social Security Administration has extraordinary collection powers. They can withhold your future benefits to recover overpayments. They can intercept your tax refunds. They can even refer your debt to the Treasury Department for aggressive collection action. This is not something you can just ignore or negotiate away easily. Third, and this is what really breaks my heart, you could lose benefits entirely if the verification process reveals that you're no longer eligible or that you were never eligible based on the correct information. I've seen people lose years of benefits because they didn't understand the rules and made innocent mistakes that snowballed into major eligibility issues. And once you lose those benefits, getting them reinstated is an uphill battle that requires appeals, hearings, and often legal representation. So here's what I need you to do right now, today, before you do anything else. Go to ssa.gov, log into your My Social Security account, and verify your information. If you don't have an account, create one right now. If you need help, ask for it. Call your local Social Security office and tell them you need assistance verifying your information before the February 19th deadline. They're required to help you. If you can't get through on the phone because the wait times are ridiculous, which they often are, keep trying or visit your local office in person. Bring all your documentation with you. Your Social Security card, your driver's license, bank statements, any notices you've received from Social Security, everything. The more prepared you are, the smoother this process will go. And listen, I know this seems overwhelming. I know it feels like just one more thing on your plate. But this is not something you can put off. This is not something you can delegate or forget about. Your financial security depends on it. Take action today. Don't wait until February 18th when everyone else is scrambling and the system is overloaded. Do it now while you have time to fix any issues that come up. Your future self will thank you.